I'm Amelia Forzak, and I am the founder of Pithy Wordsmithery, and we help people write books. So we specialize in ghostwriting for nonfiction, so books that teach people how to do things like business books or personal development books, and we also do marketing. So we build websites for people, we do email marketing, graphic design, and a lot of just like general business strategy consulting. So we work with people who are really busy. A lot of them are either business owners or they're starting a business on the side from what they do, or they're trying to write a book while working full time. And so I was just really thinking about so much has changed with the coronavirus, and we're all at home. And in some ways, things are harder, but in a lot of ways, it's sort of like filtered out a lot of the responsibilities that we might not need to do. Like there's no more commuting because you're working from home. There's no business travel. We're not able to go out with our friends and families and that kind of thing. So all these things we used to spend time doing, we suddenly have extra time. And I'm a mom and I don't have daycare right now, so I understand that we don't all have a ton of extra time because I'm still busier watching my daughter too. But I'm just trying to think of how we can take advantage of the situation to focus on things that matter to us and use the extra time to do something meaningful. So then when we come out on the other side of this, we've got like we're closer to reaching our goals instead of just like spending all time like doing Netflix and chill. Like I love Netflix and I've been binge watching some stuff too, but like I also want to focus on my business and being productive and want to help other people with that too. So I'm excited to talk about the topic today.
Thanks, Amelia. Amanda.
All right, thanks for having me, Daryl. And so I'm Amanda Robbins, and co-founder and head of marketing for Performance Coach University, where we train and certify performance coaches. So whether you're an aspiring coach or a leader in a company, whether you run the company or you lead a team, we help people arm them with skills to really serve their team to take them to the next level. So what that looks like is it's quite different, than working through the past. It's more of we work with high achievers who want to get to the next level and help train them with the tools and to help their teams and their companies continue to persevere and get to the next level, which is pretty incredible. We have people in the program that work with pararescue jumpers in the military, come from Ivy League school backgrounds, work with Fortune 500 companies, you name it. And it's all people who already have accomplished so much in their life, and yet they know there's more, they know they're capable of more. So we arm them with the tools to be able to do so, to not only apply that to their life, but then to take it to others. That's one side of our business. The other part is business coaching. And with that, we work with entrepreneurs. Right now, during this time, actually, we're doing what's called an SOS program. It's surviving this chaos. It's small business owner survival training, essentially. And we've been running that, and it's been incredible. And it's all about three things. It's about protecting your business financially, protecting your team. It's about protecting your community. It's about so protect, pivot where you need to. Not everyone needs to pivot during this time, but there's some change everyone is faced with right now in some shape, big or small, it doesn't matter. But if or when you need to pivot, how to pivot in, not only intentionally, but very intelligently, most importantly. So pivot. And then the third thing is prosper or profit. And that is, how do we, during these times, there is a way to still in your business make a living, to take care of your employees, right? To earn, like some people during the Great Depression, there's plenty of stories, or other times of economic downturn where companies have really thrived and taken off and done really, really well. So by teaching these three things to business owners right now, how to, again, protect their business, how to pivot if and when need to, and how to profit or prosper during this time are the things that we're focused on with our coaching clients specifically. So and it's been incredible, whether it's saving, for some people, it's been putting $60,000 back to their bottom line, all the way up to the highest of $600,000, bringing it all the way back to their bottom line, to having a resilience plan in place for their team. So instead of just asking everyone, like, how do I really help this team? If they can't stay with me, how do I help them transition to a place where they can still have a way to make money and take care of their family, as well as profit or prosper in their own business. What's this look like now? And we've helped people, whether it was a nail salon, go from, a brick and mortar place to online training, and it's going really, really well. I don't have the exact numbers, but she was blown away. And now instead of just one business, which is her brick and mortar, she has two businesses. She now has this online component that didn't exist before, which I'm sure some of you can relate to. Maybe you didn't have a digital aspect of your business before, and we were kind of forced to. And if we embrace this change and we really learn to grow and adapt with it, which is what really great business owners do, and I'm sure what most of you are here to learn how to do even better, when we can do that, we don't just survive, we can really thrive during these times. And so that's our mission. It's very much living in alignment with our life's purpose, and I'm so grateful to be here.
Great. Thanks, Amanda. So I'm just looking here to see if anybody's raised their hand. No one so far, so I would encourage the attendees to participate. I'm going to start with a poll. So let's get a little bit of a feel for why people are participating today. I'm going to start with this poll that we've used before, which is, are you participating for help with your own struggles, to help others, family, friends, and coworkers, or some of both? So take a minute, if you would, and share with us so we can get a little bit of a feel for who we have and what kinds of things people are participating for. I'll give that just a minute. I would also encourage anyone who has a thought or idea around this topic to feel free to send in your comments through the questions box on the control panel. If you've got some thoughts around this idea and you're not interested maybe to participate on the audio, share some ideas and thoughts through the questions. Okay, it looks like we're probably done gathering input. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to share their thoughts. Let's close that, and I'm going to share it. It looks like, interestingly enough, almost everyone is both. We had just a few, say 14% said help with my own struggles, but really 86%, most people are both. I want to help my family and friends, but I'm also struggling. So let's hide that for just a minute. And now I'm going to do another poll that's more specific to today's topic. And that is, which best describes you during these past few weeks? You feel like you have extra time on your hands, things are about the same as before, or you're busier than before? So share with us your thoughts about whether you have extra time, which is kind of the topic of today, is what can we do with our extra time? I'd like to know, do people feel like they do have extra time or they're busier than ever? Looks like we're still getting some input. Okay, let me go ahead and close that now. And it looks like I'll close it and share it. So 57% said that they have extra time, 29% things are about the same, and about 14% said they're busier than ever. So clearly we've got some extra time on our hands. We have one question that just came in, so maybe we're going to start with that. Amelia, in the beginning, how did you start selling successfully to online clients? Email, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, cold calling? That's a very specific question. Amelia, how would you like to take that question?
Yeah. So my business, it has been built on referrals. So I've really tried to do a great job for clients and make it so they want to tell other people about me. And I think like still to this day, I get 90% of my business from referrals. And I think that's huge. So putting out content is important, like sending out e-blasts for your business and posting to social and reminding people that you exist and just staying top of mind. But I think like leveraging your connections is the biggest thing that you can do. So as a new business owner, like letting people know what you're doing. like keeping in touch with them and saying like, here's what I'm trying to do. These are the kinds of people I'd like to meet. Please keep me in mind for these things. So being really direct about it and not being afraid to like ask for help. I think at the same time, helping other people proactively is huge too. So sometimes it's kind of awkward to like ask for help, or you feel like, oh, I don't know if people are going to want to do that. But if you pay it forward and you're active on social media and you're commenting on their stuff, or you're asking how you can help support them, if they want any introduction to someone in your network, it becomes like a two-way street. And I think that's just like the name of the game, like for having a new business and for forever. Like that never stops. So for me, that's been a good strategy.
Amanda, how about you?
So a big part in our beginning in coaching was partnerships. And our philosophy with partnerships is there's 3 important factors in a great partnership. And this is something that I think it's easy for what people fall into is they go, I like you. I want to work with you. You'd be a great partner. I've been there. I'm sure some of you have been there. And then it doesn't work out, because what tends to happen is we tend to want to work with people that are like us. And when we form a partnership or even bring someone onto the team, we don't necessarily need another one of us. We need someone that's going to complement us. And sometimes they're very different than us, but there are strengths. We're able to lead with our strengths, and then they're able to bring in their strengths. So there's 3 parts to what we recommend and we teach business owners is you want to make sure that of the 3 things, when you join forces together with this partner, that they have one of these 3 things or 2 of these 3 things, so that together you have all 3. And the first one is a brand. They must have a brand. Do people know, like, and trust this brand? One of you must have that. The second is distribution or an audience. Do they have reach? Do they have something when they can put it into us? It could be something like, think of a QVC. They have an audience. People are watching or listening, right? Oprah, she has an audience. You could also, so audience or distribution is another one, that they can reach masses of people. And then the third one is a product or service that's needed. Obviously, we don't want something that's not needed. We want something that people need that serves the market. So which of you has the brand? Back in the day when we got started over 10 years ago, we worked with someone that was teaching business owners. So she had the audience and distribution. She had that. She had a population of people she could introduce you to your service. She also had a great brand, and we had a great service, and it was coaching. So when put together, it was perfect. She had the audience, she had a brand, people know, like, and trust her. And then here's it can't just be any mediocre service. It's got to be really good, right? This is what happens when people say, oh, the Oprah effect. Right? Why did Spanx really take off? I mean, it was needed, but definitely needed. Most women love Spanx, but also what was beautiful is Sarah Blakely didn't have an audience at that time. She was the part that she had the product, right? And what Oprah had was Oprah had an audience, and she had a brand that people know, like, and trust. So together that worked really well. And now Spanx is a phenomenally, wildly successful brand, right? And product. So that's how that works. So for us, it was partnerships, finding the right partner. And my biggest takeaway is not only making sure that you have those 3 combined when together, but also don't just find people like you. That usually it's the easiest way to get into a partnership, but also it's not usually what means it's going to be successful unless there's just some good luck mixed in, right? So that's what worked for us.
Nice. Thank you. Well, let's jump into how do we take the extra time we have right now and convert that. And maybe you could share from a personal standpoint or even from a business standpoint, how each of you are taking advantage of this new situation. And we can even ask those that are online with us to share if they would like to through the questions, things that they're doing, or if they're interested, please let me turn on your mic and we'll add you to the conversation. So Amelia, talk a little bit about how you're taking advantage of this new environment to maybe accomplish some things you otherwise didn't, either personally or business.
Yeah. So like I said earlier, I have less time than I did before, which is kind of funny because I think I'm the one that came up with the idea for this topic. I'm like, yeah, extra downtime. That's not something I feel like I have right now. but I'm trying to make the most of the time that I do have. So I've become a lot more intentional about what I'm doing every single day. And I started coming up with a list the night before of like 5 things I need to do the next day. And if I accomplish those 5 things, I'll feel like the day has been a success. I know that's like kind of basic and it's maybe something that you've heard before, but I started hearing it from multiple people from like totally different backgrounds who do different things. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to try this thing. And it works so well. I've been getting up like really early to work before my baby gets up. And I usually like start trying to knock out emails. And I realize like that's actually not a good use of my time, especially because like I can answer an email in like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. So I can do those as one-off things later. So I try to save my best time of the day when I have like an actual chunk of uninterrupted time to do the things that matter the most, that I need to focus the most. So I think like being strategic about how you, like what time of day you do things and like what order you do things in is really helpful. I read this book called When by Dan Pink. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. It's so good for helping you understand when to do things. And it talks about how for most people, like the morning is when you do your best thinking, like critical thinking or things that are hard. And the afternoon, you're better at social stuff. So having calls in the afternoon. So I've tried to like not ever have calls in the morning and save that time for me, and then do the stuff that I'm better at in the afternoon, like when I'm starting to feel a lull and I'm going to be energized by talking with other people. So I think like those things have helped a lot in terms of like utilizing time better.
Awesome. Amanda,
So
you ever
actually,
thought about how you've taken advantage?
yeah. So this is a funny question because I similar to Amelia, I'm like, wait a second. I'm 7 months pregnant right now, and I was trying to like wind things down to prepare for maternity and make sure that all of my bases were covered with clients and students and our team and everything. And then because we're coaches, because it's so funny. When this all happened, and both my husband and I, we're going for a walk. We do gratitude walks every morning. That's something we do to fill our minds and bodies with all the good stuff before going into what the world is going to kind of throw our way that day. And so we're on this walk and we're talking about like just what's going on. And we're like, we were made for this time. Like we both said it and we both so passionately believe it. Like we were made for times like this. Not only who we are as people, but all of the training and the skill sets that we have cultivated over the course of our lives through experience, through studying, through practicing. We were made for times like this, not only to be the most mentally and emotionally resilient version of ourselves, but also for people. Like as coaches, that's what we do. We guide, we lead, we show them, like not just show them, but we show them, just said the same thing. We show them what they're capable of, right? And so with that, in this downtime, with how it turned into what could have been like a very quiet time, we felt this real calling, need, urge to get out there and help people. Because that's what we do, right? Like your business is struggling, you're struggling, like whether it's your mental or emotional well-being is being challenged right now, or your business has just been flipped upside down. We got to get out there and help. So that was a big calling for us. What that meant was, launching a new training to help people completely for free on those 3 Ps that I talked about for business owners specifically, doing some group coaching sessions to help get the mental and emotional part of us right and really strong during this time. So it actually became quite full. And with that, how we've been taking care of ourselves, because at the end of the day, whether you are someone that you are the 60% that said, I have more time, or you are of the ones that have less time, maybe because your kids are not home and they're not in daycare and you're running your own business or running a business, whatever that is, we all have different time, whether it's more time or less. Our time is just different right now. And the key is with these changes and during these times, what are we doing to become the most mentally an emotionally resilient person of ourselves. And it starts with us, right? That's why they say put your oxygen mask on first, not to others, right? And if we can get that part right, we can do everything else. Maybe not perfect, because perfect is a low standard, but at least 10% better than if we did absolutely nothing at all. So for us, you know, similar to Amelia, it is, you know, making sure that when we start off the day, it's very intentionally. So if you have extra downtime, especially, I'd be very mindful of what are you putting into that time. It's so easy right now to put in news, social media, like things that just honestly are so filled with fear and certain agendas and theories and all these things, and it starts to like take up space in your mind. And I would say protect that. You know, like Daryl says, like go on offense in so many areas of your life, but with your, and it's a little bit of defense too, right? Like how do we defend this sacred space, whether it's your mornings and it's how you fill up. Like don't go to your email right now. Don't go to social media. Don't turn on the news right now. It's not to say don't be informed. It's just to say I need to fill up first and like really protect this mind of mine to make sure I am the best, most mentally and whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, resilient version of myself right now. Because this time is not like anything any of us have ever experienced before, most likely. And so with this, it's going to demand something that we've never had to maybe do before in the past, right? But if we've all been through something in our life that was tough. And if we can go back to that time and say, what helped me get through that? Right now for Amelia, it's getting up early before her kiddo so she can get some work done. That might not be the norm that's the new norm now. It might not last after this is over, but at least she now has that skill set that she can go back to and say, oh, I did that thing. So if we all went back to the thing that helped us, and drew on that, we all already have those tools to get through this time. We so often forget that we've ever been through a hard time. And then we allow other people's kind of agendas or ideas like of what we should be doing kind of drive versus like really turning inward and going, what helped me? You know, was it praying? Was it gratitude walks? Was it getting up earlier? Was it eating healthier? Was it getting creative with my workout? So we're doing, I mean, all of the tools to fill in any even though our time it's been a bit more full right now in serving, in the time in between we have made sure whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, that we're using that time very wisely to play a little bit of defense and a lot of bit of offense right now.
I think part of that too is like, so we're trying to be more productive with our business, right? Like we're trying to get the things done that we need to get done. We're trying to go a little bit above and beyond and like reach our goals and have stretch goals and that kind of thing. But also with the free time, I think it's important to figure out if what you're doing for fun is actually making you happy. Because sometimes it's like you start to just scroll through Instagram or you're on social media or you're watching some TV. And for me personally, I think it's helpful. I'll just stop and be like, is this what I really want to do? Like I'm in the habit of scrolling through this. Like how does it make me feel right now? I'm looking at news that is maybe upsetting. I'm looking at all these things like maybe it'd be nicer if I just like turned all this off and read a book for a little bit. Or maybe I could like, maybe I'll cook something. So it's like, sometimes it feels like you're taking extra effort to be like, I'll find something good to do that I'm going to actually enjoy. And it's harder than just like scrolling through your phone or, you know, clicking on the TV. But I think that if you're able to actually like unwind better during your free time, you'll feel more recharged and you'll have like more energy for the work stuff.
Nice.
I would say,
so I'm gonna interrupt for just a quick second because Alan has raised his hand and I just turned on his mic. So Alan, share with us your thoughts.
Thank you, Daryl. Before I share a thought, can I just say what a delightful panel you folks are. This has really been fun to get acquainted with both of you this morning. I really appreciate your thoughts. Amelia, I love the name of your company. I've always been fascinated with semantics personally as a passion of mine. I just love the name of pithy wordsmithery. Good job. And congratulations, Amelia, on the coming of your baby. And to both of you, just the excitement and positivity that you both radiate this morning. It's been very uplifting. So thank you. I would just have to confess that for personally, my life has not changed that much during the last pandemic experience here. I'm older, and so I developed a routine some time ago, and I have the advantage of being able to work a lot at home in my home office. So getting up in the morning early and meditating, this gratitude time, Amelia, that you're talking about, exercising, and then spending usually about 4 hours making phone calls around the country. All of those things have happened routinely. And then by the time I get in the afternoon, the 3 or 4 things that I've mostly determined I was going to get done today have been done. And so I'm guilt-free to be able to relax with my wonderful wife and take care of our large extended family. So I would just say I've been very fortunate because of this habit of setting aside a day in a certain manner before this pandemic ever started. Because of those habits, life really has not changed that much for me, and I'm very grateful for that.
Nice, thanks for that contribution. So what you're saying is by having a structured day, regardless of whether there's a pandemic or not, you're able to feel accomplished at the end of the day.
Right.
Awesome.
Thank you, Daryl. And thank you, Daryl, for putting together. This is just a great service. Thank you.
You're kind, Alan. So Amanda, you were going to say something. Go ahead.
So just to add to both what that gentleman just shared and Amelia, the idea, one thing that's really, really served not only myself, who is a very kind of get things done type of person, but also a lot of people that are quite different, where they are so taken aback by this time, like, what do I do with it? And they're actually feeling a little stressed by the lack of structure, right? So Amelia and I and the guests all talked about this certain structure we have in our life. On the flip side, there are people that they don't have structure and they're like, what do I do with this time, right? And I think that that can be stressful, surprisingly. And the reason why it's stressful is because there wasn't an intention set. Just like that gentleman was saying, set aside some time for you. We don't know exactly how long this is going to go. Everyone's lockdown started at a different time and it's been extended or changed or whatever. I know that with certainty, at least here. And so what I had to do was, personally, even though I know what I'm doing in business and life and everything, we've already done this, because life is different. It was going, oh, another 2 weeks. Okay, here we go. If I could have it all my way, if I could make the most of this precious time right now, this unique time, and it's not, I'm specifically changing the words because our brains are very sensitive to the language you use. I'm trying not to say things like challenging, trying, so like whatever it is. I even, try not to say lockdown. It's like, what am I going to do with this unique time in life, in history, and then from there, it's just setting an intention. Some people, they want, and I will say, I love, love, love goals. And that's what coaching is all about, is setting goals and how do we achieve them. And for some people, goals in this time of their life are really hard, because they first have to lock in how to get their heads and minds right? How to feel good before putting that pressure on, because without structure and now pressure, it's chaos. And so what we want to do, and what I would offer and recommend, is to carve out some time and say, if this is what life is for the next, let's just say 2 weeks, we'll just do 2 weeks at a time. Or maybe even a week. I'd like to really chunk things down into, like, think big, but then also what's these milestones look like? If we could have it all our way, what are some things? How do we want to come out in this? How do we want to come out from this in the end? And it could be a goal that you set and you just like hit that goal hard, if that works for you. If that doesn't work for you, I offer what's called an intention. Set an intention. My intention during this time, we're doing a lot of great things. One thing I'd love to come out of this is, I've always wanted to write more, and I just haven't. And so I did this little challenge with a friend, mainly to support her, actually. But I was like, I really need to do this too. I'm going to do it. And it's a very soft goal. You know, some people, I was just working with someone yesterday and she's like, my goal was 8 hours and I felt like a failure. That's the problem with goals. If you have that relationship with goals and it's either success or failure and it's that black or white and you associate it to you and your self-worth, just pause right there and let's set an intention and go, well, how do I want, instead of doing, what do I want to be? Who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? How do I want to feel and experience this time of my life? I offer that especially to people if during this time you are feeling like you have so much time and no structure, and yet it feels stressful or chaotic, or you're supposed to be doing something and you're not. Set an intention. How do you want to experience this time of your life right now? So again, my intention is to listen to my body and what it needs during this time and stage of my life. Do I need a workout? Do I need a stretch? Do I need more water? It's not, I got to hit these goals right now. I'm 7 months pregnant. I'm not going to do that to myself. That would be crazy. And for other people, you know, instead of 8 hours a day, I need to write or I'm a failure. It's like, how about, what would a writer do? A writer would just write. Just sit down and write. It doesn't matter how many words or for how long, just write. Or you know, whatever practice a writer might do, and then you create that life. So, but it's all about, just like that gentleman was saying, or you were saying, Daryl, being proactive with getting ahead of it and going, how do I want to experience this time? And then setting an intention and then aligning everything that you do to support that intention. It's a much gentler version for those of you that goals feel like success or failure. And if you don't hit that goal and you're really hard on yourself, it's not going to serve you. You're just going to feel like crap at the end of this versus like, that was cool. And even if it was like, you know what, I learned how to be present and still. How cool is that? We just went from like a world that was crazy busy to like, and we're slower and quieter. And this is, you know, and what a cool thing to be like, wow, I came out of that like with a deeper understanding of presence and just being and stillness. And I got comfortable with that. That's pretty cool. I've never been good with that. What a gift we could give to ourselves and maybe our family. So anyway, those are my thoughts.
Nice. I'm going to take a minute and just ask the attendees to be thinking about, and maybe we could even talk about it, but are there some things that you've done in the last few weeks that you otherwise perhaps wouldn't have done because of extra time? Or are there some things you want to do? So please share those through the questions section. Instead of writing a question, just simply put your comments of things you've accomplished that are maybe a little bit out of the box, a little bit different, but that because of this time, and that might give others that are on the huddle today some ideas that otherwise they might not get. And while you're doing that, then I'll just share those with the group. Amelia, are there any of your clients, or I know you've talked about some of the things you've done, but can you think of any of your clients, or Amanda also, that have done some unique things during this time that have really helped them personally or professionally to pivot or to take advantage of this unique experience? I liked, Amanda, you're talking about just it's unique. Don't call it crisis, don't call it tribulation, don't call it, you know, COVID-19, just call it a unique opportunity. So if you've got some, so let me just share a couple that have come in. Learning a new skill that I've always wanted to try. Thank you, Patrice. And also starting to teach my son piano lessons. Never felt like I had time to do that before. Another thought from Todd is a lot of service to people that aren't doing much for themselves. Those are all excellent. Keep sending those in. And Amelia, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, so I work with a lot of business owners or people who are trying to launch a business or write a book. And a lot of the projects that they're working towards are things that they should be doing, but that are easy to put off. So, and a lot of them are digital strategies. So building your email list and being able to send out emails to keep in touch with people, or working on your website, or working on social media stuff. And it's easy to say, I'll do that next week, I'll do that next week, and then you just keep putting it off. And I think I've seen a lot of clients be like, oh, it'd be great if that was built up already now that everything's like going more digital. And so I think people are taking the opportunity to really to dig in and start to improve the stuff that they have had on their to-do list for a really long time. So I think that has been really good. Also just like communicating more with clients and customers. Like if you have been meaning to send out some kind of communication to, I don't know, if your colleagues or clients or whoever, like actually being proactive about it and getting it done. I've seen people do a lot of that. And then for some of us who have kids who are home, like I've been wanting to spend so much more time with my daughter. Like that's been on my to-do list, or I'm like, I need to have better work-life balance. Like I need to scale back and I want to spend more time with her. I'm just like not sure how to do that, you know, like so starting to try to do it a little bit. And now it's like, well, I'm here all day and she's here all day. So I'm seeing a ton of her and it's been amazing. Like, so that's been like the best part about all this really is to be able to spend more time with her. So I think like sometimes things, it sort of puts you in a position where you don't feel like you have a choice or you don't feel like you have as much control, but sometimes the situation is even better than you had it before. So, you know, it's been an interesting experience.
So we've got a couple more that came through, which I'll share with you. And while I do that, Amanda, think of maybe some of your clients and if they've done some creative things with this change or unique experience. So Mark says, complete pivot. No one is buying, speaking, or workshopping right now. So needing to coach online was not something to which I was going to apply my frameworks. Personal coaching is offering something I dare offer to friends and family because I got to expand the window. It is lower cost and more intimate. And then Kylie shared, taking time to reflect on my reasons why my goals so that I can adjust my routines to help me continue to work towards those goals. And then writing down things that make me feel grateful. All good ideas. Thank you for sharing. Amanda, any of your clients that have done some unique pivoting and changing and making good use of this unique time?
Yeah, lots of them. So one thing that's interesting is, first, I've noticed with our clients, there's kind of half that we have worked really hard on like a defensive strategy to make sure that we knew winter was coming, right? We knew we were in such a great time economically for so long. It's cyclical. Like the economy works in cycles. And so we didn't know what it was. No one could predict it exactly. But we knew that there would be a time we're real high right now. So let's play defensively, make sure we're protected and we're ready. So when winter comes, our business and life isn't hit so hard, right? And so one thing that's been really beautiful is that that's really paid dividends for them. They're like, thank goodness I didn't just drop $2 million on that house and you made me hold on to my money instead of drain my cash account or whatever it was, because now there will be a change in the economy and there will be different opportunity there. And now the business has cash flow, which is oxygen for a business, right? So on the one hand, there haven't been pivots because there's been such great defense in place that they didn't need to really change anything because they can ride this out. On the other hand, there's been clients that they did have to change their business and they had to think fast and on their feet. And with that, it's all about getting really crystal clear on your niche. Who is it exactly that you serve and how do you serve them? And right now, how can you serve them? What is the need out there, right? So what I was going to say was, I just lost my train of thought for a second, sorry. So with that, getting crystal clear on who it is you help and how you help them. And if you can't do it in that same way, what is it that they absolutely need in this moment? What is it that they need, right? If not to say this won't work because some businesses are growing and thriving during this time, but if I were going out there and trying to pitch my services and help me, let me grow your business, most people aren't wondering how they can grow their business. They're wondering, how do I save my business? And so it's about making sure, sometimes it's as simple as pivoting your message and being truly authentic, that if that's what you're doing, if that's what you can do, that's what you're doing, that's what you're serving up. You're not just changing it to appease them and attract people. Like, you, with integrity and skill, can deliver what it is you say that you can deliver. So you have to be mindful of your message. So some of them, it's just pivoting their message. For others, it's truly going, what are the strengths? What is the, maybe you've heard, with GM, they were making cars. Now they're making, I want to say, masks or ventilators. I have a friend that is in 3D printing, he's printing masks. I have so whatever it is that your company can do, if you can't provide that specific service anymore, the question is, what are your strengths? Whether it's your team or the assets that you have on site, what is it that you can take to market that people actually need right now? If you haven't even considered or revisited what your message is right now, or the services that you offer, whether they're needed or not, you're completely missing the mark. And then I really would encourage you to just go through and do an audit, and make sure, is what people really need right now, is it what we're serving, or do we need to change the message, or do we need to change potentially the product? And so I think there's a list of examples. I mean, I see them all the time. Whether it's a chocolate company and they've paused so they can make meals now for medics. There's so many different ways people have pivoted, but at the end of the day, like I said, the nail salon that was brick and mortar that went online. I'm drawing. There's so many. We do these trainings every week, and I don't know why I can't list off a ton of them. But if you ever join, we're always sharing success stories. But the point is, I could share those examples with you all day long. But at the end of the day, a really great business owner or leader needs to have time for themselves to think, what is it that we do really dang well? And how do we address what people need and want the most right now, right? How do we do that? That's the question that really needs to be asked.
And to that point, what you said reminded me of a principle that I've always thought was extremely important. And while I share those thoughts, I'd love for you to think about what you just said in the context of dashboards. Because we had a little conversation before this started about dashboards.
That may have missed part of that. We're talking about dashboards in business and how important it is. And a dashboard to a business is really like, if you're flying an airplane, it would be your cockpit. If you're driving a car, it would truly be like your dash, and knowing how fast you're going so you don't get a ticket, or where you're going so you don't get lost, right? If you have a GPS in there. And so a dashboard is critical for a business to know where they're going with clarity, with certainty, to know what they need to change and when they need to change it, to be proactive, play good defense and offense. And so with that, that's something that Daryl and I were talking about. And, instead of like, a common question is like, what should be on my dashboard? And what's interesting is everyone, from my experience, dashboards are, there can be some commonalities between all of them. But at the end of the day, what's most important is it comes down to this is how our business mentor taught it to us. And this allows you to build a customized dashboard for you in a really intelligent way. Because if I just shared the dashboard with my business, it might not be totally applicable to yours, and you might not have crucial metrics. You might not actually be measuring what really matters in your business. And so that's the key, is measuring what matters in your business. And what do I mean by that is when things are going, it's easier to almost look at this when things aren't going well, and then to look at when things are going well. So when things aren't going well, when you're not hitting the mark, you ask yourself these questions. What could have happened that shouldn't have happened? What could have happened? We don't know for certain, but what could have happened that shouldn't have happened? And the other question is, what could have happened that didn't happen? So something happened potentially that should not have happened, and something didn't happen that should have happened. Do you see where I'm going there? So that allows us to really critically think through and skim through our business and all of those things. And then we go, all right, cool. Because what we call those are sometimes KPIs, key performance measures, or these are critical, they're levers in your business. We call them critical levers. These are the things that you turn on and turn off, and depending on whether turned on or off, or how well they're doing, is whether money is coming in or not. And so that's one way. So when things aren't going very well, what could have happened that shouldn't have happened?
Amanda, do you ever do this for like personal stuff too? I'm thinking like maybe
Yes.
some of the attendees, like they've got businesses, but maybe some of them don't have their own businesses. Like just thinking about how to like apply this for family stuff too, where it's like, because we're all home with each other a lot more than we are used to. And so I think it's like challenging to keep up like all the household stuff and like not get on each other's nerves and teach the kids and all that. So like coming up with like a dashboard for your just like daily life and house stuff
Yes.
too.
Absolutely. So it's funny that you say that because we actually do that with our personal one-on-one clients. We, as a business owner, I want to know about the business, but I need to know about the owner. How are you doing? How's your sleep? How's your meditation? How we measure everything. My husband measures, he could tell you how well a client is breathing. And that's private information that the client has consented to share with him, but he can see, oh, I see that you were stress breathing during this time.
Oh, I have this. That tells me that too.
Right. And so he actually has dashboards for his clients. So whether it's business or personal, it's when things don't go well, what shouldn't have happened that did, or what should have happened that didn't, right? So scan through that, and then you're going to line item all of those things, and you're going to put that into a dashboard. How do I measure that? What's that look like? So that's where you do it in business. And then when things are going well, take note. What really happened? And I encourage you, whether you're a leader or a parent, in your personal relationships, whatever, when things are going really well, we call those anchors in coaching. We want to anchor those in. What are the things that happened that allowed you to get to that result? And I'm taking note, right? Like, oh, my husband loved that meal. Okay, I'm going to cook that for him again. Oh, my baby responded well to that. I'm going to take note for them. My team loved this challenge and they really we got the best results ever. I'm taking note, and even going deeper with it. What was it about that thing? What were the feelings, the emotions? What did that create for them? We can anchor those in as, past success, victories, and we can recreate that, right? So both when things are working, when things aren't, we're asking similar questions. It applies personally as well. If you're not feeling well, if I'm, I'll do a scan, through, say you're having an off day, you're feeling a bit funky. We'll scan. How did I sleep? Did I get enough quality? Quantity wise, did I get enough? And quality wise, was it delicious sleep? Amelia's wearing a Fitbit or something like that right now. She might have a good idea of how well her sleep was. And there's so many different tools out there to do this now. Did I skip my meditation? Did I do a breathing exercise? If I got really tense, we're big into cold showers. They're amazing for the nervous system to reset that quickly, whether it's 1 to 3 minutes. Just jump in an ice cold shower, put on your favorite song. It'll reset your nervous system. That's one quick and easy way to do it. Did I do that, or did I just kind of live in that moment? What else do we do? So we're constantly scanning, and we have these certain, for my husband and I, for example, connection. We love the work that we do, and it's so easy to just slip into work, right? And so with that, we realize when things get a little funky with us and maybe the communication isn't so well, or we're kind of like really missing each other, we didn't do our gratitude walk. So we do those walks every day. That's one of our, on our dashboard, if we were to check it off, we missed it because X, Y, or Z. Okay, we don't miss it again tomorrow. So we have this rule with our personal things where we never miss more than one day. When you've taken the time to set up what's your dashboard, or what are the things, your KPIs for your personal life that you want to, I don't know if KPIs really applies to personal life, but you get it. What are the things that I must do that bring me to the best version of myself? And the key is don't negotiate with it. Don't negotiate with it. So often we negotiate with it. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it later. Why are you negotiating with yourself? You just lowered your standard on being the best version of yourself. And then you get the repercussions of that. So our rule is if we must miss it, we never miss more than one day. That's a must, right? And we communicate it with each other. And I encourage you too, sometimes that's a lot for one person. So communicate it with anyone around you. Find an accountability buddy, find a coach, find, maybe you're reaching out to someone in your network to be like, hey, what's something that you need to be doing right now and you're not doing? Let's hold each other accountable.
Or even just having the people in your household support you.
Yes.
It's like my husband and I both we want to work out, and if we don't work out, we everything starts to go bad. Our mental health, we really need to have that physical outlet. And so if he ever wants to do that, I'm 100% supportive of him, and vice versa, even if it means I have to take on more because I'm watching Delilah, our baby, or vice versa. So I think just knowing that you need to do these things and then having somebody close to you support you. Because it is harder to do it. Like maybe like you have to have time with your friends. It's like, how are you going to do that during social distancing? It's harder where you have to like organize a Zoom call or something like that. So just being more intentional about it.
Absolutely.
So we're winding up close to the hour. So I'm going to give each of you just a minute to maybe say a concluding thought or comment, and then I'm going to just kind of close things up. So Amanda, any final thoughts maybe in just a minute?
Oh goodness. We talked about so many great things. I hope that everyone was able to get at least one thing out of here. I know there's a lot of different tips and tricks and everything. And I think at the end of the day, it's easy to overwhelm ourselves with the unlimited amount of options and choices out in the world. It's almost, I like to think of it as a buffet. So if we look at this time during our life as a buffet of options that we get to choose from, of whether it's the habits and rituals we put in our life, or whether we set goals or intentions, or what kind, who we communicate with, what we listen to, I want you to think if we put everything on, we're going to feel very overwhelmed and stressed and get a little chubby. So what I recommend is to be very mindful in selecting like maybe just one thing. Like if there's just one thing you took from this, go and do that right now. And don't just think about it, because that's what gets us in trouble, is we know what we need to do, but we don't do it. So from anything that you've learned here, take just one thing. It doesn't matter what it is, because there's so much goodness shared in here. I learned so much from both of you and the audience, which is pretty cool. And I would say just take one thing and go put it to practice straight away. And then celebrate it. And then celebrate it. Like right now, we don't need to be any harder on ourselves and beat ourselves up. There's too much going on right now. So I would just say celebrate it. Whatever it is, fine. Every single day, find something to celebrate. And hopefully you took one action out of this. That's all. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I think this discussion's been really great. There's so many great tips for this. And I think like self-awareness is probably the biggest thing. So like knowing if you want to be doing something and that's not happening, like how do you bridge that gap? Or like just figuring out like one or two things that could make you happier and just trying to focus on those things. I think another big part of it is just like not being too hard on yourself right now, like being kind to yourself. Like I think that this can be an emotional time. It can be stressful, you know? And like for me personally, like I try to push myself so hard sometimes, and like I'm always like, why am I not here? Like if I'm here and this is great, I'm still like, but why am I not up here? And like I don't have patience with myself. And I think that we have to just be honest that this is a weird time. We're not used to this. Like, so as long as you're doing the best you can, that's like really all that you can expect from yourself.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So let's just to wrap things up. I'd love to share with you that this Friday, April 17th, we have a Dr. Stephen Schimpf, who will be joining us to discuss resilience from an MD's perspective. Dr. Schimpf is a retired CEO of the University of Maryland Medical Center. He's an internist, researcher, educator, professor of medicine, and public policy. He's the author of many books, including Longevity Decoded, The 7 Keys to Healthy Aging. Also joining us on Friday will be John Davis, PhD psychologist. He started as a minister, but then went back to school and got a PhD in psychology. He became the assistant professor of family medicine and psychiatry at the University of Maryland, where he led the educational programs for the medical, nursing, pharmacy, and dental schools in substance abuse. So immediately following the huddle today, you'll receive an email survey asking you for your feedback on today's huddle. We encourage you to complete that and give us feedback so we can make these more effective. Please give us your ideas and suggestions for themes for future huddles. We take those very seriously. I'd like to thank our guest panelists. Thank you both Amelia and Amanda. Thank you, Alan, for participating with us today. And if you have an opportunity, if you'd like to share any of your ideas, use the contact us form on the website goingonoffense.com. We also want to, in closing, just thank all those organizations that have gotten behind us and have been willing to offer free or discounted services. You can find those. There's lots of ideas and helps and resources on the Going On Offense website. We do these every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And again, thank you, Amelia. Thank you, Amanda. And We wish you all a wonderful day. We'll close things up now. Take care.
Take care.